So we talked about centripetal force before, and I know that for a lot of you, centripetal force, you're probably still going, I understand the pictures you drew. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm just having a hard time believing this. So if you are still having a hard time believing that centripetal force actually pulls inward toward the center of the circle, you're not alone. A lot of people have a hard time understanding that kind of concept. But let me illustrate it this way and see if maybe it will help you. If we've been talking about maybe a toy airplane on a string. So if you have an airplane and you have just a regular plain old string attached to it, and you set that airplane on the table, if you pull the string, then the airplane will pull along with you. What happens if you push the string? Nothing. A whole lot of nothing, because you can't move an airplane by pushing on a string, right? And so therefore, if you are twirling this toy airplane around your head, there's no way that you can push on the string to make the airplane go outward. And the only force acting on the airplane is the string that's attached to it. Except for gravity. And so what's keeping it in that circular motion has to be an inward force with your hand pulling on the string, because you can't push on a string and get anything to move. Okay, now what you're actually feeling, or what people actually think of as an outward force, is actually called centrifugal force. And it's actually an illusion. Centripetal force can be one of three things. It can be tension from a string. It can be gravity that's being exerted by a massive object, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the chapter. But the sun has a lot of gravity, and so it exerts a force on the earth that pulls it towards itself and keeps it moving around in a circle. Or they can be the frictional forces from the road when a car goes around a curve. And so you feel if you're in the car and the car goes around a curve, you feel as if you're being pushed outward. And so that force that you think you feel is commonly called a centrifugal force. It's really not a force at all, because what you're feeling is the fact that your body is already in motion in a particular direction. It wants to stay in motion. And so what you feel then is the fact that there's being a force exerted on you to get you to go a different direction, as your body is attempting to keep going in the straight line that it was already moving in. So, is there actually a centrifugal force pushing you outward? There is not. A centrifugal force does not exist. It's all a centripetal force and an inward force. So when you work on your homework today, try to keep that in mind. Centripetal forces can take a number of different forms, but they're always an inward force acting toward the center of the circle when that circle is of circular motion.